The Toronto Blue Jays win yet another game in shutout fashion against the New York Mets today. They open up their series with a 3-0 victory. So we'll break down the dominant performance from Chris Bassitt and a couple of timely hits on this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. So not only did we get a little rain delay, we didn't know if there was going to be any baseball played today, but the Toronto Blue Jays managed to win 3-0 in Queens against the New York Mets. And what a way to win. What a way to cap off a Friday night. Just a great performance all around. Chris Bassitt, I mean, he was unbelievable. And congratulations to him, his wife giving birth to a child over there. And he pitched his heart out there, and hopefully he's with his wife right now with that newborn child. I mean, congratulations to him.
Yeah, huge congratulations to him. It's very impressive that he did what he did, and we'll discuss that in a minute here. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Again, thank you for 7,000, and let's just get into the video. And the Blue Jays stay hot. They're on a bit of a good tear the past week or so, and they've been getting a lot of wins, and that's something that, like we said in the past few videos, it's very nice to see because they were ice cold, and it was on the back of Chris Bassitt, which we'll talk about in a minute, but let's focus on some of the hitters. And Peter, what you saw out of the team in general today. You can touch on Chris Bassitt if you want, but it was a very late game, but, you know, we won, and that's all that matters, despite it being 1 a.m. for me on a Friday night.
Yeah, the pitching was lights out today, and it all starts with Chris Bassitt. Of course, the pitching has been pretty solid as of late, of course, besides Alek Manoah, but it's a conversation for another time. Let's focus on the win here today. And again, another day with the home run ball, striking again. Another solo home run and 2-run home run were the only sources of offense for the Jays today. And it was the same way yesterday against the Milwaukee Brewers. It's the same thing today. I mean, I don't want to get used to winning one-run games or close games like that, but hey, you take them you take them when you can, and the Jays have been on a bit of a heater here. They're going for their third straight series win after a really rough stretch here.
Yeah, and you always mention it, and we kind of discussed it in the offseason, that defense and pitching is what ultimately wins games, and the offense is going to come along. They've been, like you said, they've been in home runs recently, but only scoring 2 or 3 runs a game, and that was the case today. But the defense has been great, and the pitching has been phenomenal. In case you missed the game, George Springer let it off with a home run, which I'll show you guys in a moment here. Bo Bichette just continues to mash. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is starting to look like himself a little bit more lately. He's still not getting the multi-hit games, but he's hitting line drives, he's taking his walks, and huge shout out to Daulton Varsho, who we'll touch on in a later chapter here. But overall, a decent game for the offense. And it started off with a George Springer bomb. Peter, I know you texted me. You got pretty hyped about this one. The New York Mets are always a fun team to play. It was a pretty electric atmosphere in there. There was a lot of Jays fans. The arena, the stadium is just phenomenal. And what a game for them. And I'm just happy that the Jays got the win. And you can see George Springer was hyped there after the home run. So great stadium, great atmosphere, and overall just a very, very good start for George Springer. And I kind of set the table because Justin Verlander did end up pitching a very solid game, hitting, I believe, 117 pitches.
Yeah, he actually broke Kevin Gausman's record for most pitches this season in the major leagues. So playing the Mets is never easy. And the Mets are very similar to the Jays in a sense because they've underperformed and they had very lofty expectations coming into the season. Both teams had identical records heading into this game, and the Jays ultimately came out victorious. And they're going for the series win tomorrow, but it doesn't get any easier. I mean, you're facing Justin Verlander today. You managed to scratch a couple of runs across. Obviously, only one against Verlander, but you did what you had to do to win this game. It's never easy coming up against Justin Verlander, whether he's 40 years old, whether he's got a 5.5 ERA, it doesn't matter. He's lights out usually against the Blue Jays. So they did enough to get the victory today, and that's all that matters. I was very impressed with the pitching, and that has been the calling card for this team when they have managed to get victories.
Yeah, and let's touch on that right now. It's a good segue into Chris Bassitt is amazing. I don't know how else to put it. He has been undoubtedly our second best pitcher, and if it wasn't for Kevin Gausman having this crazy year that he's having, you could make an argument, and it wouldn't really be an argument, that he has been the best pitcher on the Blue Jays. He has been unbelievable, and today was no different. 7 2/3, 3 hits, 0 walks, which is a big thing for him. He obviously is a command guy. 8 strikeouts, and like you said, his wife is in labor, or was in labor throughout the game, or maybe she had her kid. We're not sure as of the update right now, but the fact is that Chris Bassitt, there were some questions about whether he was going to actually start this game after the rain delay because obviously his wife is in Toronto. He pitched amazing. He went out there for the eighth. He got 2 outs, and then Tim Mesa came in and really didn't do a whole lot because there was a pitch clock violation. But shout out to Tim Mesa for that. There was a pitch clock violation strikeout. But what a game out of Chris Bassitt, and he has been the steal of the offseason for Ross Atkins alongside Kevin Kiermaier. But he's doing everything we could have asked for. We had that live stream back in, I think it was December, whenever it was that he signed.
Right, right. And he was pitching like his wife was in labor today because you could tell that he wanted to get out of there. He was working quickly. He was efficient. He didn't walk a single batter, and he only gave up 3 hits in 7 2/3. I felt like he could have even gone longer, but going to Tim Mesa against Brandon Nimmo in the top of the order was a great call by John Schneider. So we got to sing his praises when he does make good calls, and we got to be critical of him when he doesn't. So shout out to John Schneider for doing that. And once again, hopefully his baby is healthy. Hope that's the most important thing coming out of today. But he was definitely pitching like he had somewhere else to be. And he did have somewhere else to be. That's ultimately more important than baseball. So shout out to him. Gave us quality, very quality outing. And hopefully he's with his wife and his child right now. And that's the most important thing, bigger than baseball.
Yeah, he's a pure competitor, and he wanted to pitch today. He told that to John Schneider, and ultimately it worked out. And shout out to him, and I believe it was the 3rd inning where there was a man on 1st and 3rd. Jays were up 1-0 with 0 outs, right, and he got out of the inning. That was kind of the turning point of the game because ultimately, obviously, Varsho hit the home run, which we'll touch on now in a minute. But again, shout out to Tim Mesa for the weird, pitch clock violation strikeout. And Jordan Romano had a very, very clean 9th inning, giving up 1 hit, and he's back-to-back saves now. He's up to, I believe, 14. So overall, very solid game, and I want to give some quick praises to Daulton Varsho with the clutch home run. And a 1-0 lead in baseball is never comfortable for any team, but when you're going up against the New York Mets and Pete Alonso, who hits home runs left and right, it's very, very important to get a bigger lead than 1 run. And Daulton Varsho did that with an absolute moonshot. I know, Peter, you were kind of driving on the way home from this one, so I showed you this again here now. An absolute moonshot at Daulton Varsho, and he's someone that he did not get a clutch hit with 2 outs and the bases were loaded earlier in the game, but luckily, I'll show you guys one more time, he was able to hit a home run clutch, and he even mentioned it in his post-game interview that he kind of felt bad after not getting a base hit there with the bases loaded, so he made an adjustment against the pitcher there and hit an absolute moonshot to give him a 3-0 lead, which really calmed everyone down and gave Romano a bit more, extra cushion that you need against a team that has Pete Alonso and others.
The one thing that I've seen out of Daulton Varsho in this cold streak that he's had this season, it's because he's not aggressive, and he's always been an aggressive hitter. He's never someone that's going to draw a ton of walks. He likes to utilize his power, and he likes to swing the bat. Now, I feel that because he has been in a slump and because the expectations are so high, and he looks over his shoulder, he sees Gabriel Moreno hitting 300 in Arizona. He sees Lourdes Gurriel playing the best baseball of his career in Arizona as well. Maybe he feels inclined to do some more things and impact the game in different ways. And he's not a guy who's going to take walks. He's got to swing the bat. And that home run that he hit today was on a 3-0 count. He ambushed that pitch. He was looking for it. And I felt like he had a lot of other pitches earlier on in the game that he could have done damage on. And he was very passive. He wasn't ready to swing, and he wasn't mentally prepared for those pitches in the zone. And he had a lot of good pitches. He's had a lot of good pitches in this cold streak. But hopefully he can start to get more aggressive and remember who he is up there. A power hitter who's going to hit a lot of home runs, and you just got to go out there and swing the bat.
Yeah, and if he starts to get going, he turns into the true 5-tool player that we have discussed him becoming, and he's still only young at 26 years old. So huge shout out to him. And let's just look ahead now to tomorrow with Jose Barrios. And, I'm starting to feel some confidence with Jose Barrios. He's had several good starts in a row, it seems. And, again, play tomorrow. I believe it's a 4:10 Eastern start. And hopefully Jose Barrios can go out there and pitch well because the Jays are only now 2.5 games back of the New York Yankees, I believe, assuming the score stays against the Dodgers, which, as much as the Blue Jays have struggled this year, 2.5 games back of the wild card spot with tons of games left, over 100 is not the worst spot we could be, and there's tons of time left, but just got to keep taking care of business against the Mets tomorrow.
Right. Tomorrow's the biggest game of the series, in my opinion, because it's Jose Barrios, who has been pitching very well, against Tyler McGill, who is someone that is kind of he's a tweener. He's a tweener for the New York Mets. He starts games, but he's not necessarily a guy that they rely upon. Yeah, he's not a guy that they rely upon in the rotation. And then on Sunday, it's Yusei Kikuchi against Kodai Senga. And Senga last time out allowed 1 hit in 7 innings. So that's not an easy matchup for the Blue Jays with all those right-handed hitters in the lineup. So tomorrow is probably the most important game of the series, and that's the one you want to go out and get and assure yourself a series victory, because Sunday is no walk in the park.
Yeah, and again, it's another short series, 3 games. So if we win tomorrow, like we keep saying, win the series and we'll be in good shape. And hopefully they can do that, and that's a great point. Kodai Senga has been really good to start the year, and he's starting to pick it up a little bit lately. But maybe Kikuchi will also step it up. You never really know with him. But that'll wrap up the video. Thank you guys again for the support. Hopefully the Blue Jays can continue to win. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks.